a bit of weather, little bit of weather going on here. Oh, uh-oh. Don't reckon those parcels are getting delivered. Oh no. We've got a bit of weather, little bit of weather going on here. Oh, uh-oh. Don't reckon those parcels are getting delivered. Oh no.
Oh, I'll have to give them a push as well.
Because of the need of the teams to save, so I think it's a surprise to see the fellow not going out on the soft time.
Aaron's still circulating, but still circulating as well. I think Aaron maybe took a couple of
left to go on the clock as he stamps on the brakes going up. Then here they drop some oil, as often they usually do. It's just showing a little bit offline. Quite a few drivers in Econ Academy were getting them a bit too honestly serious.
Oh yeah. 2023, and that is a feature of course.
Well, you congratulate all of the grip and all of the drivers at that, but we just seen a replay of him getting overkill the entry into turn one of the very well new as well. He's on a track Boaty, Max Verstappen's engineer in FP1, telling Max about the win, certainly up at turn one.
The race control listening in to all of those messages, and they will duly investigate, and that could be a green flag penalty for Sonoda. Session now, 7 minutes left on the clock. Ricardo Magnussen just played into the Q3 for the Grand Prix on Sunday. Sprint day tomorrow, of course, a sprint shootout qualifying, and then the dedicated sprint race tomorrow afternoon. This is all
excellent, and I've got 3 of them. Well, it looks very different today. Hello my lovelies, welcome to, it's Saturday of course, isn't it? It's Saturday afternoon and I'm about to head off to work, and gosh, what a last 12 or 24 hours I guess. I'm somewhat embarrassed that I had no idea how bad things were so close to me. I knew what was going on in Chesterfield yesterday. Social media was full of it. It made national news. I didn't know what was going on in Baslow and even closer to me around my own Eastmoor area. Today, it'll be interesting to see on the way to work what remains. I mean, it looks a very different landscape here. Initially, there's not a running torrent of water running down the hill for a start. Hopefully the cars have survived without any particular damage. What's this chap doing? But yes, so obviously I got home last night. It was an uneventful evening. Apart from one very minor little thing, it was an uneventful drive home. But of course the rain continued and it took its toll. Now today, are you on the wonk? Today I've caught up with what's been, you know, going on very close to me. We can see there's still some standing water here. It's not been raining for a while, but there's going to be, you know, there are going to be all of the signs. There's going to be detritus spread around the place. Obviously, some poor unfortunate people have got damaged vehicles, written off vehicles, damaged homes to deal with. You can see all of the crap that's been washed off the fields and stuff here. There are likely to be degradations in road surfaces, potholes, etc. I need to try and avoid those wherever possible. But largely, I would imagine that things have largely cleared by this point. There was an element of impingement. I was awoken far too early, you know, in my book, a very unsociable hour, and I tried to ignore the knocking at the door, but it was really quite insistent. So I staggered down and answered it, and it was the gas people, and apparently the gas main for, well, I'm not sure for how many of us, certainly for my little row of cottages, there was water in it, and they'd been called out by neighbours whose boilers had packed up, and there was water in their gas meters, all of that sort of thing. So there was a bit of shenanigans in the area. Now, as it turned out, by sheer luck, I imagine, I wasn't affected. My gas wouldn't have been affected, except obviously they had to rectify everybody else's, and that meant piddling about with the mains. So look at this again, a load of stuff been walls washed down. Yes, it's been a bit of a day of kerfuffle. So no live stream from me. Water's still running downhill here. But yeah, I mean, my heart goes out to everybody who suffered I was going to say a lot worse than me. That would be completely wrong. I didn't suffer at all. Didn't really have an issue, did I? So, let's see how things look as we puddle on carefully to work. You know, being careful to keep an eye out for remaining flood water or potholes created by the deluge. Oh, it's pretty, isn't it? Actual hints of blue sky. They certainly weren't to be seen yesterday. Again, how lovely is that? Now, of course, this area was very flooded last night, and it looks as if there is still residual water now. Oh, quite a bit of residual water by the look of it. Let's go carefully through here, shall we? Oh dear. Somebody who maybe didn't go quite so carefully through it. Long-term viewers, that's it, make life awkward, right, don't you? Long-term viewers will be very well aware of just how troublesome that little corner arrangement can be. That is terrifyingly dangerous in snow and ice. It's just lovely. The fields look, well, the fields to my left look verdant and green. To my right is the russet of open moorland. To be honest, I imagine that now the rest of the journey is going to be pretty uneventful, so I'll listen to some music and bring you back if there's anything worth showing you. Well, I mean, to be honest, this whole journey I think is worth showing you, but you've probably seen it more than enough times already, haven't you? You probably know the way to work better than I do. Bit of a puddle left there. Okay, so we're dropping down towards the stretch that I was so careful to avoid yesterday. It will be interesting to see what it looks like today. I'd love to know what it was like yesterday and whether I was correct in avoiding it, rather like the plague. So we'll have a look in a couple of corners' time. It's just a section where the road is particularly close to the river, and given how we went over the river, of course, yesterday, and it was very swollen and angry, but it wasn't a problem at the point where we crossed it, and I suspected most strongly that the likelihood was that it would have been a problem down here. So let's see what we can see. See if there's any signs remaining. Oh, there's certainly some standing water left here. been literally a sign saying flood. See, now you're dropping down here, right down to the, effectively to the river plain. Right, they're still fully flooded to the right, fully flooded to the left, very, very flooded, but the road is clear. Greetings, Honourable Bridge. Yeah, I don't think that would have been a nice place to be at this time yesterday. Plenty of flooding there, look. Those aren't fields anymore, that's a full-on lake. Gosh. Hopefully you can see as we get closer. Bloody hell. Oh, that's serious. Right then, let's get on with Saturday night at work. You're on the bloody wonk again. Honestly, sort yourselves out. Right, don't know where to start about tonight. Bit of shit hit the fan. Needs to be sorted. Oh, can't allow another night like tonight. It's not been a disaster. It's not been a disaster, but we've been ridiculously busy, far beyond any reasonable expectation, and quite frankly, we've been too slow, and that needs to change quickly.
Racing driver Alice Powell and the BBC's chief F1 writer Andrew Benson. Julian,
Discussion point, not least because it decided pole position yesterday with Max having that lap time deleted. I don't like tweaking the track, painting a wider white line. You're absolutely right, Alice. It is pretty much double the width now, maybe even a little bit more. I personally am still looming over it, so he's got to build a gap, even if he can't pass Sainz for 6th position. Minor points in today's race being fought over. The main points look like they're heading towards Max Verstappen. 5.7 seconds clear of Hamilton and absolutely waltzing away from the field now. 7/10 quicker than Hamilton on the last lap. He is lapping 2 seconds quicker than Sainz in some of these laps here. Sainz with his mirrors full of the Mercedes, particularly defensive drive, but he is really struggling on those tyres.
yeah, there's a few drivers actually popping in some greens. Lando Norris has just set his best lap of the race. Okay, current pace, he is still about 3 to 4 tenths slower than Max Verstappen. Alex Albon, personal best of the race as well. Esteban Ocon, Fernando Alonso and Zhou Guanyu as well. So some few people popping in laps. The sound you can hear now is Max Verstappen as he charges down to turn 1, has a little look in his mirror. No, there's nobody there, Max. I promise you, you're 6.2 seconds clear of Lewis Hamilton. 3 laps remaining, so of course he will just need to now feather it through the remaining laps.
Verstappen was the fastest man in yesterday's qualifying. Yesterday's qualifying set the grid for the Grand Prix tomorrow, but he went over track limits at the penultimate corner by an inch, maybe a little bit less. It was very tight, but it's meant instead of starting on pole tomorrow, he will start 6th. Said, well, maybe it'll be a little bit more fun to start from 6th. Maybe a bit more fun for us as well, because this has been another demonstration of Red Bull dominance in the hands of Verstappen. Perez 5th, not really able to make any inroads. In fact, he's lapping at a similar pace to all those drivers around him. But Max is on a different planet so far today, and this is pretty ominous now for the race tomorrow, I have to say as well.
Yeah, and that just shows how his confidence is going. Yeah, it'd be quite fun starting in 6th place. As into the pits now goes Lance Stroll, so of course he's going to drop right down the order for him. He was batting around sort of 15th place. Actually, no, he was higher than that, wasn't he? He was around Ricardo, sort of 12th place, but he's come on the radio and said he's got no brakes. The team have jacked up the car, they're wheeling it around, and he'll be pushed into the garage. This is an issue they had in the only sole free practice session we got, didn't they, Julie? At the start of the weekend, they had an issue with the brakes overheating.
Lance Stroll just did 5 laps of practice this weekend. We only had 1 hour of practice, and Stroll's torrid weekend, Aston Martin's torrid weekend continues. Alonso now the only remaining Aston Martin car in 13th position, to be nil
drama for that team, and McLaren bearing down on them in the Constructors' Championship. They're going to score with Norris at the moment still in 4th position, and Stroll has had a really tough run of form, hasn't scored many points in recent races, and he's not going to score again today, and they both start towards the back tomorrow as well. So it's always a worry when you bring upgrades and you pick up reliability concerns with it as well, is actually just having kind of no pace.
It'd be hugely disappointing for Aston Martin. I suppose the only positive that Lance himself could take was actually he was fairly far up the order. He was actually, I think he was probably ahead of his teammate. He was certainly around his teammate. We've not really seen that this season, especially this second half of the season, have we? So I guess that's, if he wants to take a positive, that's going to be the only one really.
Yeah, you take what you can, but it's not a lot. It's slim pickings at the moment for him. This is the sound of George Russell, still behind the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz ahead, but Sainz now looking a little bit more composed. 8 tenths between them as we're on the penultimate lap of the race. Verstappen still leading by now 7 seconds to Hamilton. It's now 7 seconds Hamilton to Leclerc, so they're really funneling out in pace order. The Red Bull, the Mercedes and the Ferrari in the top 3. Norris is coming back towards Leclerc, who was a second quicker on the last lap. We may yet have a fight for the final, for the 3rd position in this one, but Norris has got plenty to do, 2 seconds back from Leclerc still, and Russell still frustrated behind Sainz. This has been, I think, quite a solid drive from Sainz, given he's starting on what looked to be an incredibly fragile soft tyre. They've struggled for just 1 lap in qualifying trip.
Yeah, I mean, Sainz, he's fairly smooth, isn't he? And he's good under pressure. He's had pressure, of course, from Russell for a good number of laps now. He had pressure from Norris, but Norris had a little bit of extra pace. Perez sort of breezed past him. But Sainz has done a really good job, and that will really frustrate George Russell, especially with his teammate up there sitting in P2, as DRS is wide open for George now as he bears down on turn 1, but he doesn't really bear down too much in the braking zone to Carlos Sainz. That traction still looks pretty good for the Ferrari. I'd actually probably say that the traction on the Mercedes looks worse on the medium tyres.
Yeah, Sainz has kept his tyres in quite nicely on the softs. Maybe he was just managing his pace more than slithering around earlier on. It looks like now he's got the legs for 6th, especially with Russell having a 5-second penalty, which will drop him behind Gasly, and Albon's found a lease of life. Might even get close to the back of Russell if he loses anything more for the final point. But it has been a Saturday cruise for Max Verstappen. A few corners to go now for the Dutchman. The triple world champion, crowned in the sprint last time out in Qatar, was second on that day behind Oscar Piastri. But the Dutch fans in the grandstand, the Verstappen fans in the grandstand, the Dutch crowd go everywhere, and there's lots of Verstappen support still. He's been the absolute dominator of 2023, and on Austin's Saturday sprint, he comes through the final corner, and Max Verstappen completes a sprint masterclass in Austin, takes the checker flag, and he wins this one by a cool 9 seconds in 19 laps over Lewis Hamilton. It's been a great drive from Hamilton as well. Mercedes will be happy with that. Good points for them. Good points for Hamilton in the Constructors' Championship, and he finishes second. And for 3rd place, it's very, very tight for Leclerc, but he clinches it by less than a second over Lando Norris, who's through in 4th. Perez is through in 5th, and we wait for Carlos Sainz, who's going to cling on to 6th. Russell in 7th, and he will drop behind Pierre Gasly, who comes across the line for a couple of points in the Alpine. Albon 9th, so Russell takes the final point.
Yeah, actually 3 tenths was the gap after the penalty is applied between Albon and Russell, so Albon will be slightly disappointed, wouldn't he? He just needed that extra sort of 3 tenths to gain, whereas I said the team were willing him on, but just quite wasn't enough. But there we go, Max Verstappen, first, or should I say, second job ticked off for the weekend.
Max. One of the good days at the beginning of that race. Nice job.
It's simply lovely, that.
Yeah, that was a very, very strong Saturday, Max. Well done, mate.
Yeah, pace was good.
Okay, a bit more fun to worry about.
Oh, and well done, Benny. Great job there.
Smiles and congratulations all round from the Red Bull pit bull and their champion driver out front. Here's Lewis Hamilton.
Good job, guys. Keep pushing.
probably say is Lando's starting in P2, Lewis is starting in 3rd, and they were sort of evenly matched on pace, albeit Lando's slightly stronger at the end of the race there. But I would say it's fairly worrying for Ferrari. They really did tail off on the medium tyres towards the end.
It looked like tyre woes that we haven't seen from Ferrari so much recently, Andrew Benson.
Yeah, it was a dreary race today, but I think it sets up a really interesting one tomorrow, because the field's sort of an inverted pace order, isn't it? With the slowest car at the very front, the Ferrari, although the faster of the two Ferrari drivers in it, and then the Mercedes and the McLaren quicker than the Ferrari behind it on race pace, and Verstappen quicker than them on race pace coming through from 6th. And I think, although Hamilton obviously he's lost 9 seconds, more than 9 seconds in 19 laps, that's half a second a lap. That's not what Formula 1 teams would call an overtaking delta. So it might not be so easy for Verstappen to get past the cars in front of him as some of us might have expected before we just watched this race.
I mean, I don't know if it's a mistake from Charles Leclerc at the end there, but his last lap was a 1:41.6, and Carlos Sainz on the soft tyre that seemed to drop away, and he was obviously under pressure as well from Russell, was a 1:40.7.
It looked like he was dropping for a few laps. Leclerc looked very safe in 3rd, and suddenly the last couple of laps it got very, very tight, but he managed
to. Quite a nice little sprint race this afternoon. Do join us again tomorrow for the US Grand Prix. Lights go out at 8 o'clock, but we will be live at 1:45, so 7:45 p.m. Do join us then on BBC Radio 5 Live. But from all of us here at the Circuit of the Americas, it's good night. This has been an RMG production for BBC Radio 5 Live.
lovelies. Oh gosh, it's a late one tonight. I was oh dear me, what a night. Some stuff I need to think about, but this is not the time of night to be worrying about that sort of thing. This is the time of night to get settled into the warm and dry, and then open a bottle of something cold and dry and get a bit of curry on the go. So thank you for your company today. Thank you for watching. Have a safe and peaceful night. Have a great Sunday. Much love to you all. And I'll see you next time.